What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bilbrons and Dragons. I'm your host, Bilbron Bafflestone. Once again, a reminder, this is formerly Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition Power Gamers Tactics Room. I'm going through a name change right now to Bilbrons and Dragons, so don't be confused if this is the first time you've heard about this. Today we are having an episode of my storytelling series, where I just tell interesting stories about things that happen to me in Dungeons & Dragons, and today I wanted to talk about the Demon Lord Showdown. So, my Bilbron Bafflestone campaign is now wrapped up after a year and a half of rollicking fun, and I made 12th level by the end of it. It's over, and we wrapped it up with 2 special sessions. The whole campaign was culminating in us trying to kill all of the Demon Lords in one go, so we were conducting a ritual where we summoned all of the remaining Demon Lords. There were only 6 left because we had already killed Zutmoy and Jubilex. And so the way it was going to go down was that we were going to do this ritual and summon all of the Demon Lords. And then in our next to last session, every one of the 6 players in my group took control of a Demon Lord. And we had a little arena-style battle. We held it in Blingdenstone, or the ruins of Blingdenstone. So there were a lot of buildings around and such. And we, had a battle royale to figure out who was going to be left over for our actual party of PCs to confront in our final session. And so this was pretty interesting. I ended up getting control of Grazit, and luckily, Jubilex was out of the equation because he has this regeneration that would have been very difficult for any of the other Demon Lords to beat. And looking over my abilities, kind of, running up into the session and looking at the abilities of the other Demon Lords, I thought that I had a really good chance of winning. Now, metagaming, I didn't necessarily want to win because Grazit comes with all of these crazy charm abilities that would be difficult for my own party to face. But of all of the Demon Lords, he's the only one that has a legendary action teleport. And so it just seemed to me like I would be able to leverage that and the initiative order to just pick a guy that, I could attack and then use a legendary action attack and then use a legendary action teleport to get away from him before it was even his turn. And just kind of play this cat and mouse thing. And I figured that would give me a really good shot of winning at the end, even though you can't always do that and escape damage because the other Demon Lords also have legendary actions, so they're going to be attacking you a little bit. But, I thought that if I played that attrition game, I would have a chance. But I knew going in that Orcus was going to be, by far the most formidable opponent. And I didn't know who was playing Orcus, so I thought maybe Orcus would win. I didn't really think any of the others had a chance. The Demon Lords are largely unimpressive, if you ask me. So when we started the game, we were just all the Demon Lords were all summoned into Blingdenstone. And Grazit actually had a really good position. I was inside a building, kind of well away from the others, where they kind of saw each other right away. So I just kind of sat back in safety. I also rolled a 4 on my initiative, so I basically went last. And, Orcus, first of all, got played by a character, or by the player that is by far the slowest in my party when it comes to, executing the rounds. And so he immediately time stopped and got 5 rounds. And then he has this crazy ability where he can summon up to 500 hit points of undead of his choice, which is just immensely powerful. And he summoned a Lich, which is crazy good, and then 22 Shadows, which have this strength drain thing. So I can see what he was doing there. And he had time stops, so he was able to kind of set them all up. And it didn't work as well as he wanted because he wanted to kind of stack all of the Shadows onto one enemy, but he forgot about the fact that there's only so many squares. So he had to kind of split them up, and it didn't work as well as he wanted, but he was still killing it. I mean, Baphomet was just getting crushed, ended up dying to a power word kill out of Orcus, and Orcus just has way more powers than any of the other Demon Lords, really good ones. And a lot of them come with charm powers, which are useless in a Demon Lord showdown because they have immunity. So we kind of, went along the ways that I expected. Orcus was just crushing, Frazer Blue and Baphomet and, all of those guys. And I was kind of off on the side dealing with Yugloth, I think his name is, and, slicing him up with my teleport tactics and stuff. And it was fun, but we just ran out of time. It was like taking forever because there's 6 Demon Lords. They all have legendary actions. And then my slow colleague ended up playing Orcus with all of these summons and such. So we couldn't get through it, but you could kind of see which way the wind was blowing. I thought that it was definitely going to be Orcus versus Grazit at the end. And, I didn't really want Grazit to win anyway. So luckily, in our last session, we came back to find that Orcus had won and we were going to have to fight him. And metagaming, I want to say right away, I was not at all concerned. I didn't think this was going to be a tough battle at all because we had just come off a session where we couldn't finish the battle. And this is our last session, so we would need to leave room for, role-playing wrap-ups and stuff. So I felt like this battle was going to be pretty easy. And I just wanted to have a good time. So I rolled a 35 on initiative because I went into this thing fully rest-tricked. So I had all of my spell slots, and I had cast Death Ward, Gift of Alacrity, Non-Detection, Aid, See Invisible, and I had 22 Tiny Servants. So I rolled a 35 on my initiative because I normally have plus 12 and roll it at advantage, and then I got the plus D8 for Gift of Alacrity. And so I went first, and we were really kind of far away from where Orcus was, but he had survived with a bunch of shadows and stuff. So I thought that, okay, I'm just going to have a little bit of fun and set up my colleagues and, just let them finish this. So I cast a 4th level haste out of my Shield Guardian onto my party's Paladin and Champion, and I had my Homunculus cast Enhance Intelligence on me because I have a Mitzium's Apparatus and I just wanted that advantage on my Arcana checks, and also just in case I had to do a Dispel Magic or a Counterspell. And then I also had my Familiar cast Haste on me as well, because I like that bonus action hide, I like the extra AC, I like the extra move, even though I was on a Phantom Steed. So anyway, I had a Phantom Steed, so I was able to close the range with Orcus. And there was a list of spells that I wanted to cast that I'd never cast before, and this was my last session, so this is going to be my last chance. So Synaptic Static was one of those. So I just opened with a Synaptic Static to kiss Orcus and wipe out all of the shadows that were around him. And it was fun because I never really cast a blast before. That's not my thing. I have a light cleric in the party who's all about fireball and such. And so I skinned it so that there was an image of my god appearing right next to Orcus. And then she screamed, better than fireball! And did a whole synaptic static lightning thing, which was just like a little jab at my light cleric. So anyway, wiped all those guys out. I set up my colleagues for success. And then I just zipped over to this area that I felt like I wasn't going to get attacked or anything because it was between all these buildings. And I figured my party was just going to, crush it, and then we were going to get to the aftermath. But right after my action, my nemesis Titibulus shows up using a legendary action to teleport right in front of my butt. And then he actually went next in the initiative order. So he tried to charm me. And it didn't work, thankfully. He was screaming at me, "Screw you, Bafflestone, you've ruined everything for me! You'll die!" I was like, okay, bring it on, Titibulus. He didn't charm me. And then I went first, and so at this point I'm just kind of watching all of this stuff unfold. He attracted the attention of my colleagues, or my party's champion, who managed to dash over because I had hasted her, and she made it over and didn't have any attacks left, but presented a threat for next round. So Titibulus used one of his legendary actions to teleport away, and then he caught the attention of one of my other party members, and then he teleported again. And then half my party went to confront Orcus. And then when my turn rolled around, Titibulus was close enough. So I went up to him, and I knew it was suboptimal, but there was another spell that I wanted to cast as part of this one-round combo that I wanted to do, Steel Wind Strike. And I cast it, and I missed. And it was annoying because even though I had rerolls from Chronal Shift, and even though I had a ton of inspiration that I, could burn at leisure since I wasn't having another session, I missed. So annoying. Didn't want to cast Steel Wind Strike, but I envisioned a much better outcome. But I executed the rest of my combo, which was to issue the appropriate commands. My homunculus took the ever-smoking bottle to the right position and obscured Titivolus. And then I ordered my 22's tiny servants to rake him. And yeah, they smashed him for 90-ish damage. And then he screamed, "No!" And because it was his turn next, and he runs out of my obscurement and he pulls a scroll. And I knew that he had acquired some 9th level scrolls because the last time I fought him, we'd got that intel and he'd cast Time Stop. And so I was like, I counterspell that. Only the second time I've ever used counterspell in this game. But yeah, he was casting Meteor Swarm, it turns out. So I counterspelled that and he did the whole no thing again. I mean, you just gotta love hearing your enemies go, no! Music to my ears. And then my party's champion Nova'd on him with her 8 attacks and got 4 criticals, and so we didn't even need to roll the damage. She just turned him into baloney, and in the meantime, the rest of my party had confronted Orcus, and my paladin had managed to get a critical and smited him, and didn't go so well for our boy Orcus. So yeah, that was it. We wrapped up our final battle and then, had all of our role-playing wrap up. And it was good times, man. I really enjoyed that campaign. And in the aftermath, Bilbron decided to stay in Blingdenstone, his home city, help rebuild in the aftermath of the war in which Blingdenstone just got crushed, and started a temple and all of that stuff. And always had a teleport circle available to Baldur's Gate, because sometimes when you're, just a war hero walking through a town that you are like the super duper important part of, you get sick of everybody kissing your ass and telling you how great you are. And so sometimes Bilbron Bafflestone just casts that teleport circle, hits up Baldur's Gate, walks up amongst the surface people, and none of whom know he is, and just starts looking for trouble. Maybe walks in the seedy parts of town, looking, around in the dive bars, just, see if you can find any riffraff, get their attention and be all like, hey, you talking to me? And that's it. So Bilbron Bafflestone as a PC is over, but he lives on as my persona for Bilbrons and Dragons. So that's my story about how things wrapped up, the Demon Lord Showdown. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. This has been I was about to say it again. This has been Bilbrons and Dragons. Thanks for watching. See you next time.